Oh, hi kids. Mr. Lee, back around 5. Hope y'all doing well, staying safe. What is that, a beehive? Yep, sure enough, a little invertebrate habitat. Where's my spray? Oh yeah, I'm about to zap him with that. Don't try that at home. What is that anyway? Yellow jacket, wasp, hornet, bee? Whatever you are, you're about to get destroyed by me. Sorry guys, I know you're thinking like, whoa, you are really off track. Actually, if you think about it closely though, not really in fact. Because I said it's invertebrate, it means it got no bones in the back. That's something we're gonna learn about when we get to the pack. I guess I should say packet, but you know what I mean. All right, let's get started. Start numbering.
Okay, the first thing you're gonna do is number off the pages in the science section so you can follow along easily. Okay, this week's topic is Introduction to Animals. You guys already know plenty about animals, so it's not really an introduction, but the topic is animals. Animals on Earth. Animals have particular body parts and structures to help them survive in their Earth environment. For instance, animals have certain body parts such as legs or wings that help them move, and mouths or trunks or beaks that help them drink water. Animals use their body parts to get what they need to survive from their environment, such as water, food, shelter, and oxygen. Alright, there's two main types of animals, or two main ways that scientists classify them. So this section right here, classification of animals. Scientists classify animals in two major groups, vertebrates and invertebrates. Now we talked about this before in class, so I'm going to remind you what we discussed previously. Basically a vertebrae is like a part of your spine. So if an animal is I'll just read this right here. Vertebrates are animals that have a backbone. Vertebrates include fish, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and mammals. So the main part that you need to know is that if it's a vertebrate, it has a backbone. So basically, if I do a quick sketch of a spine, like let's imagine it's a skeleton, then you have like the spinal column and then the little bones in your back that make up the spine. I don't know exactly the number of them. I guess I could look that up. You can do some research if you're curious. How many vertebrae does a human have? So all these little individual pieces, it's like the little backbones that connect upon the spine, those are vertebrae. So if you have that, you have a backbone. And if you do not, that means you're an invertebrate. Other types of animals, not humans, humans are vertebrates, but there are some invertebrates. They do not have a backbone. They're called invertebrates. Over 97% of the animals on Earth are invertebrates. That's very interesting. That means only 3% is left. That would be humans and all the type of animals that you would see, that you could probably think of. Lions and zebras and elephants and giraffe and all those type of animals that are up walking around. They would be making up only 3% of the total population of animals on the Earth. That's an interesting fact. So the way you remember this, when you put the prefix in on the beginning of the word, it means the opposite of the rest of the word. So like correct is right, incorrect is not right or wrong. So if you have an invertebrate, it means you do not have vertebrae or a backbone. All right, symmetry. I'm not going to really cover this topic. This is actually comes up in science, but it's also a math concept. So if you have an image where you could, I'll just draw an example. I might not draw it perfectly, so it might not work, but imagine this is a perfect heart. So again, it's not quite perfect, but if it was perfect, then I could draw a line right here, straight through the middle. And then if I folded the two halves on top of each other, it would line up perfect. It's a perfect mirror image on both sides. If you fold it in half, that's symmetry. If it was like a random shape, like just some squiggly blob looking thing, and I try to break it in half, it's not a perfect match when you fold it in half, so it does not have symmetry. So like this section right here would not match up right here. It'd be all this extra part. So symmetry is if you can fold it in half and it lines up perfect with no overlap, it's a perfect match. And you can read this is talking about two different types of symmetry. All right, next topic is adaptations. We've covered this in class. Hopefully you guys can recall some things you learned. Animals use certain adaptations in order to survive in their environments. And animal adaptation is a trait that helps organisms to survive. So it gives them some sort of survival advantage. Adaptations may include certain body parts, behaviors, sense of eyesight, being poisonous, or even having a terrible odor like a skunk. So the main thing to remember right here is that adaptation, it helps organisms to survive. It's either helps them to be a better predator, to get prey if they're the one hunting, or if they are the prey, to avoid predators like camouflage or something like that, which is coming up right now. So body adaptations are called physical adaptations. So remember this word physical. We've discussed this before. Physical, think about it's just relating to your body. So for instance, there's one subject in school that's one of the support subjects. It's a lot of times students' favorites, and that's PE, which really stands for physical education. The abbreviation is PE because you're really using your body. Most other classes, it's your mind, you're learning information. PE, you're up, you're active, you're moving around, getting exercise, you're using your body. So a body adaptation is a physical adaptation. An animal uses camouflage to protect itself from prey. Camouflage means having the appearance of one's surroundings, which makes it difficult to see the camouflaged animal. So it blends in. It doesn't stand out and make it obvious to be able to hunt. Some animals use mimicry as a form of defense. Mimicry is when a weaker animal purposefully looks like a stronger animal. So if you mimic somebody, another way you might say that is you're mocking somebody. So if you just like repeat what they say and you kind of just trying to aggravate them and get on their nerves, you're mimicking them or you're mocking them. So you're trying to be like them just to aggravate them. A lot of times how people might do that. An example of an animal using mimicry as a defense against predators is the viceroy butterfly. Monarch butterflies or bodies contain a poison. A viceroy butterfly is not poisonous, but looks similar to the monarch, so its predators might not realize it's not the poisonous monarch and they'll thus avoid it. So what it's talking about, this right here, monarch, they look very, very similar. You can tell if you look real close, you'll notice the little yellow dots and the red dots toward the tip of the wing. But this monarch right here, if you just glance at it, you're probably going to think this non-poisonous butterfly is actually one of the poisonous butterflies. So if you're a predator that knows that, you'll avoid it. So just by looking like a poisonous animal, they're kind of able to protect themselves. All right, behaviors. We discussed this earlier in the year as well. So we have inherited behaviors. They are not learned behaviors. So not learned. And the way I taught you a little think link, when you hear the word inherited, if you have something to connect that to, then it'll remind you what it means. So an inheritance, so the little picture I'd usually draw for it would be like a little money bag. So let's say you had some rich relatives or maybe just some generous person that's not related to you and they die, and in their will, a document saying like, divide up my belongings to these people. You just get a bunch of money that's given to you because they were wealthy and they left some money and it was given to you. You didn't earn it. You didn't have to work for it. It just got passed on to you from, a lot of times it could be your parents, it could be another relative. But obviously in this case, it would be your parents. You get a physical inherited behavior from, or not a physical, but an inherited behavior. They are instincts that animals are born knowing how to do. So you're born knowing how to do it. You don't have to be taught how to do it. You just automatically, immediately know how to do it when you're born. An inherited behavior is done already on instinct by the offspring. A spider knowing how to spin a web when it's born is an example of inherited behavior. So it's passed on from your parents. Learned behaviors, however, are traits that are not inherited or done by instinct. Learned behaviors are behaviors that are learned by animals, just like what the term sounds like. Learned behavior, they had to learn how to do it by watching other animals, such as their parents. An example of a learned behavior is a lion cub learning how to hunt from its parents. So the lion doesn't automatically know how to hunt when they're born, but they spend enough time around their parents when they go out hunting and they'll pick up on it and they'll learn how to do it. Seasonal behaviors. All right, I'm not going to mark this up. You can read through this, but a lot of things you're already familiar with. Migration, like when birds fly south in the winter because it's warmer weather toward the equator. That's an example of migration. Different seasons, they'll move their location and come back up north when it's warmer. Hibernation is an animal state of inactivity. So again, just like invertebrate, when you put the IN on the front of the word, it's the opposite of the rest. So not active. Active means you're moving around, you got a lot of energy, you're doing something. Inactivity means you're not. You're just laying there sleeping for a long time during hibernation. True hibernators remain totally inactive for a long period of time. So they just go in like a coma. They're just not going to move for sometimes months, it might be. So you probably think of a bear as probably the classic example of a hibernating animal. They're going to eat a whole bunch right before it's winter and then go in their den and just sleep for some months. All right, so you can go back and read through, maybe mark up some of the sections I skipped over or just briefly talk through. All right, now, just like we do every week, if you've been tuning in, we'll hit just a couple questions and then you can work back through the rest to complete the packet on your own. Page number 5, question 4. Scientists classify animals into 2 major groups: large and small animals, mammals and insects, warm-blooded and cold-blooded, vertebrates and invertebrates. So although a lot of these terms and the answer options are things you've heard discussed in science, try to think what specifically was discussed in the packet. Mammals and insects, you know, those are science-related terms, but it wasn't really specifically discussing that. Warm-blooded, cold-blooded, vertebrae. Oh, I know that Mr. Lee was talking about vertebrae, like the backbone, and if there's no backbone. So let's go back and look. Scientists classify animals into 2 major groups. So at the start of the packet, oh, what do you know? The very first thing that we marked, right above that, scientists classify animals into 2 major groups: vertebrates and invertebrates. So go back, refer to the text. Your answer is right there. So the answer would be D. All right, page 6, question number 10. Blank are not learned. They are instincts that animals are born knowing to do. They're saying knowing to do. To me, it sounds better if you say knowing how to do, but they're born knowing to do. So what is something that's not learned? Learned behavior, inherited behaviors, taught behaviors, watched behaviors. Something that is not learned. All right, let's go back to that section. All right. Inherited behaviors are not learned behaviors. There it is, right there. Not learned, inherited. Not learned, so that is an inherited behavior. That's the little image about some money that was given to you as an inheritance. You didn't earn it, just like something you didn't learn, you didn't earn. It was just given to you. Let's see, page 7. Number 5, I meant to highlight it, but I didn't, so focus on question number 5 right here. An example of a learned behavior, so just like what the last question was a little bit related to, an example of a learned behavior or trait is blank. So we're discussing this, the lion learning how to hunt. So it's kind of obvious. They actually got 1, 2, 3 questions in a row that involves that same image. So an example of a learned behavior or trait is an animal feeling pain. No one has to teach you. You don't have to learn, or no one has to teach you how to feel pain. If something hurts you, it just sends a signal through your nerves, goes to your brain, and you feel the sensation of pain. An animal feeling hungry, kind of like pain, hunger. A newborn baby is automatically crying, wanting to be fed. They don't have to learn how to do that. It's an instinct. A lion hunting for food. So that's the correct answer. That's what we've already discussed, that you have to learn how to do that. And then a lion sleeping, just like a little newborn baby. You don't have to teach them how to sleep. They'll hopefully sleep real good so that the parent can get lots of sleep themselves. But I've got a 4-month-old right now, so that's something I can relate to. But anyway, a lion knows how to sleep, but they don't have to learn how to do that. All right, so just like every week, you've got your multiple choice questions to start the question section of the packet. Then there's some vocab, fill in the blanks. So I'm sure you've been doing well in the previous week's packets. Keep up the good work. Just go back. You can do it all if you just want to sit down and do your entire science packet in one sitting, you're welcome to do that. If you just do maybe 1 page of questions a day throughout the week, a little bit, it might take you just a few minutes. Just somehow, whatever's the best way for you to go about doing it, try to complete the packet throughout the week or by the end of the week.
No matter how deadly mosquitoes are, I am not scared of them. Oh, ouch! Help! Okay, kids, see you next time for some more fun facts. This is me zooming out. Help! Hey, kids, you liked my videos, didn't you?